Hello, everybody. It is time for the True Gamer Dimension Solocast. I'm Aaron, the Gaming Godfather, here to give you some news, a review, and some recommendations. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get started, shall we? Elder Scrolls Online has a bug wherein players are, or should I say were, able to duplicate items through the guild bank and sell them for buku bucks. As ZeniMax has become very much aware of this economy-shattering glitch, they have since shut down guild banks. When will they be back up? Once the glitch is fixed. When is the estimated date on that? Whenever ZeniMax fixes it. This is actually a unique situation wherein a certain Reddit user by Lazy Girl Gamer has the following to say. This was one of the bugs I reported, as did a few of my guildmates. I asked them if they were able to do it, and sure enough they were. Nearly all of the bugs I reported during the 8 months of beta that I participated in were not fixed before release. So, hopefully, for those that are playing Elder Scrolls Online, your guild bank will be accessible to you very soon. WildStar is currently having some ongoing issues for their current beta weekend. The following have been resolved, but there are still a few left to be handled. We're seeing reports of European Union players receiving the message, "No valid game account found." When trying to play, we've heard a few reports of this happening to North American players as well, but at a much smaller volume. Some accounts are being improperly flagged as guest pass accounts, forcing some restrictions on players, including being unable to create more than 3 characters, being unable to use chat channels, and being unable to trade or send mail. Monster difficulty is too low. That is something you rarely hear in an MMO. Am I right? I've been playing a certain game lately, and I decided to do an informal review, if you will. And that game is Path of Exile. It's also my game of the week, as you can tell through the background video. Now, this is actually an incredibly free-to-play game. I absolutely love it, and here's the following reasons why. It has great visuals for a free-to-play game. Now, that's usually knocking the free-to-play genre or unofficial genre, but when you've seen some free-to-play games such as Dungeon Party and Dungeon Land, you kind of become accustomed to low-end graphics. But Path of Exile decides to break against this and make an amazing looking game using dynamic lighting and also just a general all-around great visual appeal to players of the Diablo clone type game. You're able to craft your own class through the expansive web of passive skills. Now, this is a huge draw for Path of Exile, wherein you do not simply pick a class and off you go. They have a few ways of you creating your own character. What you're able to do is acquire skill gems, and these are your spells and special attacks. You level these up through fighting, just like you would your own character. Upon leveling up your own character, you're giving a skill point. As soon as you open up the passive skill web, you will become greatly overwhelmed, as in it is massive, and you have no idea where to go. You will mess up, trust me. But there are a few times they give you refund points, and if you find yourself going down the wrong path, just simply make another character. There's no problem at all doing that at all. With gems, you're also able to do things a little bit fun. There are not just simply skill gems, but there are also support gems. So you're able to modify your spells and abilities to not only do certain things, but be better all around, and simply take place should you be hit, or should you die, etc. So you can take your simple double hit or cleave attack and add on a critical modifier or increase damage as in lightning damage, cold, or fire. This actually makes it very much fun because it also throws out a monkey wrench to many people's plans as they have a current setup as far as equipment and realize you need to make sure that it is socketed, the support gem, and connected to the skill gem you're trying to enhance. You will find a lot of equipment later on where not only is your equipment socketed, but also connect sockets. So that is incredibly fun. And the greatest thing about Path of Exile, it has an amazing business model as you feel no urge to buy anything, yet you are constantly tempted to buy many things to customize your character and enhance your game. You can do a lot of things. You can simply buy more tabs for your stash, or you can buy visual enhancements for the appearance of your character. They can be as mild as, say, a metal mohawk, or as astounding as a flaming seraph angel type getup. And that's the good side of the game. There are some downsides, though. As this game is 100% online, you can have the occasional lag problem. I have actually encountered several times where I've ended up having not a crash, but simply the game boots me back to the main menu. I just simply log back in, and everything's fine and dandy. This can be a little bit interrupting, since I could be in the middle of a boss fight and it'll crash on me. Or at times it feels like if I simply stand around for too long and try to make a decision, then it'll simply send me back to the main menu. So it's not uncommon to see this happen, though it's not an entirely game-breaking problem. Some will be put off by this Diablo 2 clone, as it doesn't offer much guidance, and you'll make mistakes as to which passive skills to acquire and which skill gems to use. This is true, and all I can tell everybody, and I feel like a hypocrite every time I say this, you have to give the game time. It wants you to experiment with it. It wants you to explore the game. You don't have to simply click on a big guy and go, okay, I have to go the warrior. No, you can turn him however you want. Just simply look at the passive skill web, and you'll know what you're able to do and what you're able to create. That allows you to make a build that feels like your own. And not only that, but you can simply use nearly any weapon or piece of armor that you wish. You are not restricted through your character. You're restricted through pretty much your own imagination within the confines of Path of Exile. With that being said, I absolutely love Path of Exile. You can easily download it through Steam and enjoy it for yourself. I give it an 8 out of 10. It is fantastic, well worth your time, and it will be worth if you decide to pay any money into it, as you decide to customize and enhance your game as you progress. Alright, time to change gears here with 3 recommendations for a good comic book series. Now, the first, in all honesty, is just for an okay series. It started turning out to be a really good one, and the final issue, that being issue 4, which recently just released, just dropped the ball, which is quite ironic since the symbol for the hero, Dead End, is a flaming basketball. That symbol being explained along with his supposed origin and how he came to have his powers, or simply his extreme luck, were also explained. Kind of. Through issues 1 through 3, I've actually been loving this comic book series, and it was incredibly fun. It had heavy inspiration from such characters as Deadpool and things of that sort. You know, it's not really satire, but it's about a killer who simply makes fun of people. He belittles people and gets away with murder, literally, in every way, case, shape, and form. He takes on some of the greatest homages, I should say, to keep it light and friendly, to other past superheroes, such as the Justice League, where you can see a Batman-type character, a Superman, so on and so forth. And the biggest problem with why I'm a bit let down by it is issue 4, wherein it was going to explain the true origin of his the symbol, who he came to be, how his powers were started, and how he came to grasp with them. All that I'd hoped for. What did I get? Dead End simply just says, this guy tried to kill me, he didn't, and I've been lucky ever since. That's about it. We have no showing of him playing around and discovering he has this extreme luck. It's just him doing what he's always done. He'll, flick a paper clip, it bounces around 10 times, and then goes through a little hole, goes into a guy's mouth, and the man starts to choke on it. And that's what the problem is. It just simply drops the ball. It had so much potential and everything like that, and it gave itself an entire issue to simply explain, hey, I found out I'm lucky. Wow, I can't believe that happened. I'm really lucky. Wow, this happened. I'm incredibly lucky. Let's see if this is a thing, and I'm just literally lucky in every way, shape, or form. And do some sort of experiments and tests. Does he do it? No. He just says, guy tried to kill me. He didn't. I've been lucky ever since. And it was was, in all honesty, a huge letdown. It had great potential, and I wanted this to be a really great series. The writer, Harikana, I believe that's how you say his name. If not, if I mispronounce it, I do apologize. But Harikana just simply dropped the ball. It either was a lack of effort, lack of time, maybe just general laziness. Maybe thought that it was done as it was, and we didn't need to see it. I highly disagree. Therein is one of the best ways to make people, literally make them, like your characters. They are compelled to love and or hate, whichever way you want them to, your characters because of this. This is how they came to be. This is their origin. This is how they started out. And why would we like Batman so much if his parents were alive? Would that change his character? Yes, in fact it would. If Superman was just some normal human who got exposed to radioactive waste and all of a sudden was able to fly and all that, would that change? Yes. I don't believe people would like him as much. So, Harikana, you kind of let me down. That being said, the artist, Bruno Bassotti, I believe that's how it's pronounced, he does a pretty good job. I really like his art style. It is strictly simple, yet able to really demonstrate the chaos and extreme just craziness that takes place within Badass. So that part of me at least allowed me to continue to like the comic book as it was still going on, as I was still reading it. And even though I felt let down immensely by the stories, things just started to happen for the sake of happening, at least it looked good. So, that being said, I still recommend this. It's a fun comic book series, and it's a great way to maybe see the writer wake up and realize he needs to expand more. Maybe give himself a 5th issue, so then the issue 4 or whatever could have been more centralized and focused to just simply explaining how he came to understand he has his so-called powers, even though Dead End doesn't say, or says, I do not have powers. He flat out says, I don't have powers. I'm just lucky. I have luck on my side. So, the next one is one I've been loving because it's an extremely unique and fun concept, Manifest Destiny. Here's my best single-sentence summation of it. Lewis and Clark take on Buffalo Centaur hybrids, plant zombies, and more as they explore the unexplored wilderness. When I say Lewis and Clark, I do mean Lewis and Clark. Back when the United States was not explored and the Great West was completely unknown, and they had no idea what they're going into except for a few outposts here and there. Otherwise, they were making their trip for the Atlantic Ocean. That was their goal, and to, of course, map their journey. With the fact that all of a sudden the supernatural exists is just incredibly fun and unique, and it sets you up for great action. It also looks incredible. The artist, Matthew Roberts, actually does a really good job in which the plant zombies have like little mushrooms and vines, and they're not completely grotesque, but they are quite hideous. You can see, and it doesn't affect simply humans, it affects all living bipedal, quadrupedal wildlife. You'll see plant zombie bears, squirrels, rabbits, along with humans, and it looks phenomenal to see that. Not only that, but to see a centaur / buffalo hybrid is really great because it is literally the horse lower half, the upper half is a man buffalo hybrid. So it's kind of a third centaur, a third minotaur, a third buffalo. It's very hard to describe, but they look phenomenal, and they are actually quite deadly, as in they are actually sentient. They're not mindless beasts, and they're huge, which is very opposing. You get to see these giant creatures as they tower over men. That being said, Chris Dinges, I believe is how you pronounce his name, is doing a phenomenal job to keep it simple for people to understand. It's not ye old English, so they stay a little bit out of the time to keep any writer or any reader to be able to keep pace. You don't have to research words and understand what's going on. Anybody can pick up this book and read it and enjoy it. It's great fun. That being said, he still does a phenomenal job to keep it so each character And there are a lot, actually, not only just Lewis and Clark, that are quite memorable. And whenever someone dies, you feel the connection being severed. It's not, oh, it's the faceless guy in number 5, he's gone. No, 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 no. I'm not going to say names because I don't want to spoil it. This is actually a great series for anyone to get into that wants a well-written, well-drawn comic book. It's absolutely phenomenal. It always keeps you on the toes of being the reader, and you start to really connect with Lewis Clark and their traveling companions. Not only that, but it's great to see Sacagawea be a little badass assassin. She can single-handedly take on these buffalo centaur minotaurs by herself. And it's absolutely astounding to see that, and how she is pretty much the rescuer in more ways than one of Lewis and Clark. So, Manifest Destiny, I believe it is the 6th? Yes, the 6th issue has come out, and I highly recommend you start from the beginning and just keep going. You're going to want this to be on your stack, guaranteed. My third and final recommendation this week is actually it's a newer series, and I've been loving it ever since I got into it. And the 3rd issue just came out this week, and that is Miss Marvel. This is not the Miss Marvel we once knew, the blonde, large-chested, buxom babe with the latex bathing suit on. No, no, no. She's Captain Marvel now. Now we have Miss Marvel, who is actually Kamala Khan, who's actually a Muslim girl, and is simply trying to come with understanding life as it is. Being a teenager is not the easiest thing. You got to figure out who you are, what you want to be, what you want to do, where you're going in life. Little things like that start to kick in around this time. And the writer, G. Willow Wilson, does a phenomenal job. She is going to be a favorite writer of mine from here on out. She does amazing work with fleshing out Kamala. And not only that, but with the addition of Kamala becoming a sort of superhero in which she wanted to be Miss Marvel. Not Captain Marvel, but Miss Marvel with the blonde hair and the mask and the tight latex suit and the boots. And she goes into great detail about the boots. And 3, we'll just call them beings or entities, who show up in the form of Captain Marvel, Iron Man, and Captain America, say, we are not the people we appear to be. We took this form so you can understand we are beings of basically power, honor, and respect. And the one taking the form of Captain Marvel asks her flat out, what do you want to be? I want to be Miss Marvel. Well, she breaks out of a cocoon, and this Muslim girl is all of a sudden white, with blonde hair, wearing the whole outfit that is, or rather was, Miss Marvel. It turns out, though, she doesn't have the powers of Miss Marvel. No, 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 no. And at first glance, if it looks like she's a ripoff of Mr. Fantastic, you're entirely wrong. Rather than being able to stretch her anatomy in any way, shape, or form, she's able to control her physiology in any way possible. So that allows her to actually go back to her, default or natural form as Kamala Khan. But she's also able to look like Miss Marvel, or she even plays around and tries to look like a certain individual. I won't spoil who, but she ends up looking like someone else. That being said, so she can change how she looks. She's also able to change her size as an Ant-Man style. She can shrink any part of her body or her entire body, and she can grow any part of her body or her entire body. And she's actually developing and understanding this, as in she starts looking at a scientific point of view, wherein mass increases her power, basically, because the greater the mass, force, yada, yada, yada. I won't get into it because I won't want to bore you. But here's the thing that's really great about it. G. Willow Wilson really sculpts an entire setting for you. Every character is memorable, and you're able to understand who they are. They're believable, and you understand who they are, where they're going, and how Kamala Khan influences them in some way, shape, or form. And issue 3 has got me demanding for issue 4 to come out as soon as possible, because it ends on a huge cliffhanger, which we find out Kamala Khan is definitely not Miss Marvel in any way, shape, or form. She is her own superhero. Now, if you're wondering if this looks like a great book or not, or a great series or not, the artist Adrian Alfana, he does a phenomenal job. I mean, some things, if it's not important, he does a slapdash job with it, and it works in all honesty because it honestly looks just like, I don't say a cheap thing, but a sort of vintage look to it. That being said, the characters, they're all memorable in their faces. Their bodies can be a little, uh, I don't want to say under proportional, almost both under and over, in which some people look incredibly fat and overweight, while others definitely needed to eat a hamburger because they are almost literal sticks and or skin and bones. And but it's a memorable look, and everybody stands out, and no one simply blends into the background. The faces, he does a phenomenal job of doing that, so you can understand, you can read the emotion on everyone's face, and he does a great job of doing that. So Adrian Alfana, I apologize if one's wrong and the other one's right, or if both are wrong. He does an amazing job, and he's going to be an artist I'm going to keep my eye open for. So Miss Marvel, quickly add that to your stack, as in this is still a young series and it will continue to grow. That being said, I believe there may be a quick tie-in with Miss Marvel and Inhumanity. As in Miss Marvel here, Kamala Khan, got her start very similar to how the Inhumans, I'm sorry, not Inhumanity, Inhumans starts, in which a gas appears, or fog in Kamala's case, envelops a bunch of people, and everyone seems to be affected in some way, shape, or form at first, but Kamala just simply walks away from it. And I'm getting way off track. Long story short, fog takes over Kamala Khan. She goes into a slumber and wakes up breaking out of a cocoon. That is almost verbatim what happens to Inhumans. They breathe in some gas, and they go into a cocoon, and then they come out, and all of a sudden they have powers. But Kamala Khan's different. She still looks 100% human if she chooses. Because remember, she's able to change her physiology as she sees fit. So maybe this is just simply a default form that she doesn't really have a form. It could be she might be just some big ball of ooze for all we know. But this is a great comic book series. I absolutely love it. And this is my definite pick for if you have to add on a new comic book series. And I'm usually not pro Marvel or DC, but the team under Miss Marvel, or for Miss Marvel, has done a phenomenal job, and I can't help but talking great things about it. That being said, it's time to wrap things up here, folks. This has been True Gamer Dimensions, the Solocast. I'm Aaron, the Gaming Godfather. If you like this, please, you know how to do that on YouTube. And if you want to get a hold of me, the best way possible is through Twitter, which is @Aaron_GGF. And simply drop me a line there, and if that's not preferable to you, simply contact me through there anyways, and we can work out a better way through email or Facebook or YouTube or whatever, however you want to do it. If you just simply want to sit down, have a nice little chat, or tell me what you like, what you don't like, what you want to see, what you don't want to see, and more. So, until then, stay tuned for next Saturday.